Hey, Megan, how are you?
Well, I'm doing probably better than you are. How are you on this Tuesday?
Yeah,
We'll
interesting day in the market for sure. No doubt about
all
that.
be doing the same in a minute. All right, let's go over what's kind of going on in the market. I had been having open houses about every weekend, so
Uh-huh.
I get to talk to a lot of buyers.
hmm
And I had a buyer come into my open house this weekend, and
hmm
he was predicting, doomsday for the real estate market. And I said, well, how so? Just you explain it to me, because I do this every day and I'm not seeing, doomsday.
Right.
And fortunately enough for him, somebody else walked in, so he
Oh,
got
good.
to peek out. He started talking about statistics, and I
hmm
just wasn't hearing where he was going to go with this. So I thought, we just got a new Orange County housing report today,
hmm
and that's written by Stephen Thomas, who is a very smart cookie, and he
Yep.
has been
Indeed.
producing these reports for years.
Uh-huh.
I've been getting these reports for years, but we really have leaned on him a lot in the last 2.5 years, because he's got a lot of data.
hmm
And if anything, it just sort of validates what's going on out there. If you're busy selling real estate every day, if you're not busy selling real estate every day, then you should definitely read all these reports, so you know what's
hmm
going on out there.
Right. Right.
Okay.
It's kind of
So
mind-numbing when you read through some of that stuff. Yeah.
I know. So if you're a realtor, you can subscribe to Stephen's reports as well. So what I have been seeing is a steady decline of the homes that were on the market. At the beginning of the year, we know how
hmm
that went.
hmm
Then there was quite a few homes that were put on the market in the summertime. And now I feel like they're dropping off like flies. So Stephen Thomas, in his report this week, it's entitled Hunkering Down, and it says that significant higher mortgage rates are preventing massive number of home buyers from selling their homes, and the trend has only grown more problematic. So you'd say to yourself, how could this stop people from selling their homes?
hmm
Well, because their interest rates that they have are much lower. There's a
hmm
huge population. Let's go right here. Um, it says that so many homeowners are not selling their house. The only major changing underlying factor is the swift rise in mortgage rates.
hmm
According to Mortgage News Daily, the mortgage rates rocketed from 3.25 to over 4, then to 4.2, 4.755, and now it's over 6.
hmm
Okay, so we know what those rates are, but
hmm
the reason why we're seeing less people, because they don't want to sell. They have refinanced. They've gotten a killer low
hmm
interest rate. According to Black Knight, 72% of homeowners have with a mortgage, have a 30-year fixed mortgage rate at lower than 4%. 55% have a rate that's 3.5% or lower, and 34% have a rate that's 3% or lower. Now, I think it's 72% of total, because obviously all those numbers don't add
Right.
up to 100.
Sure.
Comparing the monthly payment at today's 6.42% rate to homeowners with the substantially less locked-in monthly payments is very revealing. An 800, this is the whole meat and potatoes right here. An $800,000 mortgage today at
hmm
6.42 would be a principal and interest payment of $5,000 a month, compared to $3,800 a month at 4%, and $3,600 at 3.5,
hmm
or $3,373 at 3.
hmm
So at the beginning of the year, it was $3,373, and now it's $5,015. So people that have locked interest rates at these very low interest rates, why would they move?
hmm
They have to find a replacement property, so they're just holding off their putting their home on the market. This is the Orange County homes coming to the market between 2017 and 2019. You see the steady decline. That was prior to COVID.
hmm
And here's the new listings monthly. We've got 2022s in the orange at the bottom, and you can see how it sort of peaked in the summer, and now it's just petering out once again.
hmm
So it's really not anything new. What is new is the amount of homes for sale. So you can see that, it's a lot lower. I think green was 2020, and we can understand what this drop
Right. Yep.
here was.
Right,
Yeah,
right there at the beginning of COVID, the pandemic, right there, April
exactly.
2020. Yep.
So that's the thing. It's like, how can the market crash if no one's putting their houses up for sale? And I mean, people from where I'm standing as a realtor, I see that every time the Fed does this crazy talk and stuff that they do with all these words that makes everybody get triggered, that there's about 3 weeks of wonky buyer behavior, really wonky. And then it seems to sort of peter out, but the Fed's not giving us a break, because then they start doing it again and things start to get crazy again. So, I don't know what to tell people, but.
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack with that. Go back to that graph if you don't mind. So there's a point there I want to make. So you look at that graph for that, for that 2-year period, really 5-year period, right? But so people talk about we're going to have this crash. Well, my answer is based on what? So if it was available, if we could go back to that similar graph that covered between 2006 and 2009, for example, that's my inventory to be off the chart inventory. And that's why housing prices went down. There was too much supply, not enough demand. That's the answer. And as long as we have this low demand, housing prices are going to remain stable and they're going to keep going up. That's the answer. Look, people, and to your point, people haven't got the motivation to sell. Back in 2008, people were motivated because they were underwater. Money was easy to come by. They tapped out all of their equity. Now they can't make their payments because they had those quote unquote liar loans where they were buying houses they couldn't qualify to buy to begin with. In the market. So there's really no comparison to what's going on in the market 2008 to 2022. There's no comparison. They're not related, not even close. Right. And we're not going to see a market crash. Not going to see it. But listen, rate graph, we know that, but the rate thing is temporary. In my opinion, I think you know by now, I think Powell, our Fed chairman, has done a terrible job on monetary policy the last 8 months. He's way behind the inflation curve and he messed that up. Now he's trying to catch up with inflation. We will get through that. No doubt we'll get through that. And the rates will come back down again. The rate thing is temporary, but I know I'm preaching to the choir here, Megan, but we're not going to see a housing crash. And then if you look at the graph again, the reason is inventory. That's the answer.
And it's sad because there's a lot of people that are rooting for a housing crash because they think that a housing crash means a discounted price. And yes, absolutely, playing in all this is, of course, the most important of all the factors, in my opinion, and that's affordability. So sellers have to adjust their price to make the home affordable, but that's not necessarily a deal when you have higher interest rates. So I think the bottom line is find a house that you're comfortable making the payments and buy it. You can refinance later.
And simple.
The thing is like when you don't own your home, you don't have any control over your living situation. You know, you don't have your money invested in the real estate market.
That's right.
And I mean, I don't see anyone with long-term real estate investments that, unless they have a drug problem or something that's broke, it's like, you've got to invest.
And by the way, the flip side of that is rents are not going down. Rents are going up.
What happened? Tell me what happened this week. So far, it's only Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the Fed's meeting this week talk about the rates, right? There's no doubt that we're going to see probably a 3/4 bump in the discount rate this week. That's already baked into the market. There's some talk about maybe even a full 1%. I don't think we'll get the 1%. I think we'll see 3/4. But here's the key. The key on this is going to be what Powell's comments are the day after the meeting, and how he frames this inflation talk. He's got to really start getting his head around at least with this talk to the public about that we have inflation under control. And look, there's very clear signs that inflation is peaking right now. Inflation is not out of control at the moment. Yes, it's higher than it should be, but right now it's out of control. It's really peaked. Okay, you got to really kind of get that message out to calm the markets down. That's it. Because here's what it is. It's not going higher, I don't think. It's pretty much under control right now. And this next 3/4 point bump will certainly validate that. And so what happens in the markets, when the markets sense that this inflation is under control and this Fed chairman gets that, we'll start seeing some easing of the market. The mortgage market, the bond market, that's all oversold right now, way oversold.
Right.
And it's just going to be one trigger for the market to see that and bring it back the other way.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time and your input today, because I know, you know what in the heck you're talking about. And I'm sure this is frustrating, and we'll get through it, but people just need to stay the course and find yourself a home.
That's it. Listen, and to your point, just got to get the house, because, rents are not getting cheaper. They're going higher. Get the house now. You can look at the idea of refinancing a house 6 or 8 months. I think next fall, my prediction, at least, I can't make a promise, but my prediction next fall will be something less than 4%. Okay, so buy the house now, whatever that rate is today, whatever that looks like. That's a short-term situation.
Right.
Look at your next year refinancing, and then get back to that payment that you want. Meanwhile, you have the house and it's yours. You can do something with it.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that's very sage advice.
Thanks, Megan. Good to see you.
All right. Good to see you. I'll see you next week.
All right. Take care.
Bye.